Welcome to Pure Resell Podcast. I'm Mike.
And this is Orlando, and we're on episode 474, a lively response podcast episode.
Yeah, and I'm excited for this one because you added some video clips, you put them in our drive, I downloaded them and uploaded them here onto the stream so that we can play them, but I haven't seen any of these yet. So this is going to be like a reaction video kind of in a way for me, where I'm going to watch these and kind of react. Yeah, very authentic. But then also we're going to be talking through them, kind of looking at, I'm assuming this has resale related stuff. One of them has something to do with, of course, looks like thrifting. So, I'm excited about that. And if you are new to Pure Hustle Podcast, typically the way we do things, every other week we have different type of episodes. So one week we'll do our update episodes, which is where we're talking about the things we're buying, sourcing, flipping, where we're sourcing them, what kind of things we're getting, all the cool stories, plus all of the major reselling news, what's going on in the markets, what's going on with the platforms. And then the following week, which will be this week right now, we have a themed episode. And these are where we get to kind of narrow in on a specific topic. So maybe something related to, shipping or sourcing or, any area that's involved with reselling, taxes sometimes. So this one is one of our reaction videos, which are always a ton of fun. So we thank you guys for listening. If you're just listening, I'm sure you'll get some out of it because we know that the vast majority of our audience is on the podcast side only. So we'll kind of talk through what we're seeing, what's going on. But if you do want to see the videos, they will be up. We'll be posting them, and you can come on over to the YouTube side, watch over there. And while you're over on the YouTube side, hit the like, subscribe, bell notification, all the things.
I love how you sold our podcast. If you want to listen about shipping, you want to listen about taxes, like this is the podcast for you.
I mean, it all comes down to making money, right? Like we're making the dough. I mean, we could play it like that and just say like we're hustling. I mean, we are Pure Hustle Podcast. But the reality is, I think we often hit it at a more granular level than a lot of people do. I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of people like our podcast. I mean, we don't always get even so much just specifics about those things, but a lot of times we get into the granular levels as far as like economics and, other like policies and how those things impact us as resellers. And I think a lot of people enjoy kind of that kind of 1,000-foot view of things and how it's going to impact resellers, and not just the, hey, here's how you ship things. So yeah, we kind of do a little bit of all of it. And so if you want to make money, we'll definitely help you get there. That is for sure.
No, and it's interesting because lately I've been on social media, not like, posting, but I've just been, checking out what other accounts are up to. And I respect the hustle. I do. I respect the reseller social media hustle because people are still posting, people are still getting out there, and we're still reselling. It's not like we've finished reselling. It's just we're in a different phase of life where we kind of had to make choices, right? And we chose to stick to the podcast, and grateful for everybody. We chose to stick to the Discord, grateful for everybody that's on the Discord. So just thankful. And we're going to talk about this more in an update episode coming next week. But I will tell you, it is Q4. And if you're not out there right now listing items, if you're not out there making the most of the Q4, you're going to be missing out. I'm telling you, it's been a ramp up. The only reason I say this is because remember those tractors I had, those like toy tractors?
Yeah.
Garage full, all sold in 2 days.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, you're too far away to make it worthwhile, but I was going to say, if you still are hanging on to those, man, I got a couple of little kids that might want one, but I'm glad those sold, man.
I transported them from San Diego to here, and yeah, it made like, close to 2K in like 1 day. Like that's the power of resale on Amazon in Q4. And awesome. I know, did I make all the money back I paid on those? Probably not, because of transportation and all that stuff, but it's just nice to have a little income, and eBay sales have been up. So we'll talk about this stuff more next week, but I just want to throw that out there. If you're listening, I encourage you, like, get those listings going.
Yeah. And real quick, before we start these videos, I want to also throw out there, and we'll probably talk about this on our update episode in more depth, but, one of the reasons Q4 is probably good. It's always good. No matter, I mean, unless we're in a complete depression level situation, like people are going to find ways to buy gifts. People start spending money. People go into debt. I mean, the consumer debt right now is out of control, but that doesn't stop people from going into more debt, right? And so people are going to spend money. And so you might as well have the things listed that they want. But one of the things that right now I think is potentially going to even push it up more, because I don't know if all the details are out on it, but there's the talk of the $2,000 tariff stimulus to citizens of the United States. And so with that, I mean, even if people are like, hey, I'm getting it, I'm not getting it, I don't know when I'm getting it. Just that idea in the back of people's heads of like, hey, well, there might be an extra $2, $4, $6, $8,000 coming into our household here pretty soon, so we can go a little bit bigger on Christmas. And so even if people aren't necessarily thinking that 100%, like, hey, I'm gonna use my stimulus, or I'm gonna use my tariff rebate, or whatever they want to call it, on this, as soon as people hear more money potentially could be coming in, that just triggers people to buy more, right? Because, hey, I've got some free money coming. So that could be another reason why you definitely don't want to waste right now with your listing, is because you're going to have money. You're leaving money on the table because people are spending right now.
Yeah, no, dude. And that's what I've been noticing. It's just, there's like this, I don't know. It's not like it's COVID. Do I want to say that word? Are we going to get shadow banned?
No, I think
it's not like that. It's not like that era again. But it feels like it a little bit. Like, right, I'm telling you, it just feels like it right now. Like, and the videos that we're gonna watch right now are gonna talk to some of that, the fact that people are now in that place where like they want to go online and they want to get better deals, and that's what they're looking for. So the first video that we're gonna play is gonna be talking about how secondhand shopping has basically blown up recently, and it's gonna go via the lens of ThreadUp, and it's about an 8-minute video, but we're gonna stop it, at 30 seconds or a minute here and there, and we're gonna have a discussion about it. So. You want to play the first part of that clip?
All right, here we go.
This here is the largest garment on hanger system in the world. We can house roughly up to 3.5 million items in this facility.
Here at ThreadUp's warehouse in Suwanee, Georgia, roughly 40,000 articles of used clothing are given a second life each.
All right, I want to say right off the bat, I'm not a clothes seller per se, but this kind of warehouse is the dream, right? As a reseller, like, man, can you imagine if you walked into your reselling space and this is what you had, Orlando?
I know. Well, yeah. Or like you go to those rag houses where there's just clothing everywhere, and like, oh, go to rack 3008 and pick up something. Yeah. I mean,
that's what you can really call your 401 closet.
There you go. Hey, by the way, if you're listening to the podcast, you want to get the most out of this episode, I do encourage you to come on over to YouTube, subscribe, hit that bell notification, smash that like button, and watch the episode here on YouTube. If anything, so you can understand how weird Mike and I look behind the mic. Our faces, well, my face was made for the podcast.
Speak for yourself, man.
That's what I just did.
I'm one good looking man, and I don't want to hear anybody in the comments saying otherwise.
We receive more than 100,000 pieces of clothing every day. So it's a business operating at some significant scale.
ThreadUp isn't a thrift store. It's a resale platform built like a tech company. Part logistics network, part e-commerce site.
We do all the work for you. We let buyers shop like they would shop anywhere else on.
Have you used ThreadUp at all, Orlando?
I have not. And maybe I should have. But, it's been back and forth with ThreadUp. Like I remember people were all about it, and then people are like, oh, it's not worth it. And then people are back to, we're all about it. But I'm more concerned, and we'll watch more of the video, but I'm more concerned with ThreadUp, how it can, like, if they really keep scaling, and we're going to see this in the video, if they keep scaling at the way they're going, like, they may really put a dent in, like, used clothing business. But It depends on what you sell, right?
Well, I mean, that really comes down to what we say about eBay all the time. Like, one of the big problems with eBay is, they're a monolith, and they have that kind of set in stone, like they are the powerhouse. But if other companies can keep coming in and taking those vertical slices of the pie, ThreadUp is maybe not a competition in every market in eBay. They're not doing the auto parts and stuff. But if they do take a huge chunk of the clothing market, that's a big deal.
All right, let's keep
the
playing.
internet.
Gen Z shoppers have been driving the rise of secondhand fashion. Now, rising prices and new tariffs announced by the White House earlier this year are pushing even more Americans to follow their lead. The global secondhand apparel market is expected to reach $367 billion by 2029, growing almost 3 times faster than the overall global apparel market.
More people, of course, are turning to these resale platforms to find ways to save money on their fashion purchases, while other people are going to these platforms to sell their items so they can earn a little extra income in order to offset some of the other rising costs.
Okay, so I'm a little bit confused here because, again, I'm not super familiar with ThreadUp, which is weird. I know we're a reselling podcast. We primarily are focusing on eBay and Amazon.
Only done 474 episodes.
Yeah. So, but the video they're showing here, it's almost like this girl is doing the listing, but then it seems like ThreadUp does. They said earlier does all the work. So do you send in your clothes and they picture, measure, list, or do you have to? Okay, so this is just like B-roll, random B-roll.
So let me just explain the process to people that are listening and watching. So you just send in all your clothes, and it gets over there, and then they tell you how much they're going to give you for your clothing, pretty much. So it's like, think of like, when you trade it into a local like thrift store or resale shop, it's the same thing, but just online.
Nice. Okay, gotcha. So they buy it from you and list it. It's not like when it sells, you get a portion of it.
No. They give you the money up front and then they resell it.
Okay, gotcha. So they're almost just like they're the big reseller, not like necessarily just a reselling platform.
Correct.
They're buying it. Gotcha.
I mean,
and now AI tools are making it even easier for shoppers to buy secondhand. Fashion tech startups like Phoebe Gates and Sophia Kiani's AI shopping tool, Fia, are reshaping how people shop.
The next wave is taking all of this search data and all that we're learning from our users to start to personalize their results and move towards a discovery feed for each and every user.
CNBC got a behind-the-scenes look.
And that really does come down to the power of AI, right? That's what made Amazon so big. I was recently reading a book, and it was talking about how Amazon, one of the reasons they were able to get so big and basically crush the brick and mortar stores is for the first however many years of their existence, they weren't being taxed, right? So they could undercut everybody else, which allowed them to kind of get the foothold of the market. And they got positioned in a place where now they can't really be dethroned. But where they really made their money is they were able to make predictions off of and this was prior to AI. There were still algorithms and computer stuff, but not to the level and extent that we have now, where they could tell based off of the types of products people were buying if they were likely pregnant or not. And then they could use that to end up pushing items into their feed on Amazon. It's like, hey, because you bought this type of vitamin or because you bought this type of whatever, now we're going to start showing you these things because people who are, a pregnant woman at this stage in her pregnancy tends to buy these. So they were able to use all that data. And if you think of what AI is, one of the powerful things that AI is going to do is just that, is pushing the things on people that they want to see or that, they're more likely to buy. So it's interesting.
Okay, but I do want to wait, pause the video. I do want to correct something. They pay you after the item sells and the return window's closed. So I thought at some time they would pay you out, but I guess they pay you out after the fact. So there you go. But keep going.
Do you have to pay for storage? We'll have to figure out. I'll have to do a little bit more research into to ThredUp and how that works. All right, here we go.
Well, while we play the video, I'll look it up.
To learn more about how new AI tools and tariffs are boosting America's secondhand market. Every item that passes through here is sourced, sorted, and shipped within the US. No imports, no overseas supply chains.
ThredUp is really easy to use. So for sellers, we send you a clean out kit. You fill it with all the things that you're no longer wearing. You put it where your mail gets picked up, and then we go to our distribution centers. We process all of your clothing.
Once the items have finished their photography over in studios, they're actually on their way up to the mezzanine so they can get put away into one of our put away carousels.
ThredUp operates 4 facilities like this across the US, collectively processing hundreds of thousands of secondhand items weekly through a mix of human inspection.
Our packers are one of the most important jobs that we do here because
they're employing a lot of people, you can tell.
That will be touching the customer's item before customer gets it. So they are there to make sure that quality is triple checked.
And automation that powers the company's resale engine.
When this building was first built in 2020, people would have to manually enter in the information and print one barcode one by one. Now that we've automated it, we've been able to bring that down to one team member.
The U.S. secondhand apparel market is expected.
That's crazy.
Real quick. Yeah, and I was going to say, I wonder, you remember how, one of the early debates that always came up when we first started the podcast, I feel like a lot of comments, people asking, and it was all over social media, is like whether or not you wash the clothes that you buy at garage sales and thrift stores. People are always bringing that up. I wonder if they do. I'm sure clothes have to be probably washed before you send them in, but like, are they washing clothes when they get there? Like, how are they making sure that it's kind of a side thought, but that's just what I'm wondering. Like, how do you make sure?
Hey, but they explained the process, at least, like where we were fumbling through it. They're like, this is how ThredUp works. We send you a clean out bag and you give us the clothes and then we inspect it and then we post it to sale. And so that's good. I did check for storage fees. There is no storage fees, but I'm sure they reject some items, right? It's not like you can just send whatever trash you want. Like, you go pick up a free bin of clothes and it's all messed up,
Yeah, because I guess what's the downside? I wonder if there's a market. Maybe we're missing out here, but like, I know you can go to. I got a Goodwill bins by me. I don't really do clothing. I don't know a ton about clothing, but it's so cheap. You're buying by the pound. Like if you just kind of had, hey, this doesn't necessarily, I don't have to know every brand. I don't need to know that this item sells for X amount. And I just have to kind of guess. And if I'm right, like 30% of the time, and I buy a bunch of clothes and just stick it in a ThredUp bag and send it, like, I wonder if there's people who are doing that, right? They're not even trying to list it and take pictures and do all that. They're just kind of bulk sending out things, and whatever gets rejected, it's like, hey, somebody else will take care of this.
Yeah.
But I wonder if it like affects your like if you constantly sending in stuff that's being rejected, if that like hurts your metric as a seller on ThredUp. I feel like I need to look into ThredUp a little bit more. I'm glad you're playing this video, man.
Okay, you're welcome. All right, let's keep going here. Wait, okay, let's talk about the AI thing. Hold on. I want to reiterate, like, think of what it said, that they had to hire a bunch of people to process and put the barcodes. I know you had talked about this a little bit, and then just one person now, right? And I think that's the same thing with reselling. Like the other day, I was listing stuff, and I'm like, man, I wonder if I should pay for one of those companies where I just upload all my pictures and they use AI to list everything. I don't think I'm not there yet, but I do see a time when like there's possibility of like a scanner, like 'cause we already talked about how Goodwill, a store I shall not be named, has scanners where like they put items through, like clothing items, and the AI is able to like pick up like what's profitable, what's not, like what's a good name brand, what's not. And I'm wondering if there's ever going to be a time where like you could just pick up a bunch of clothes and just like throw it into something and it'll like sort it out through the scanner and it'll just make the whole listing for you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm even thinking like, okay, remember when I bought like the book scanner and I was going into like the libraries and thrift stores and like scanning books, and that just never ended up being my niche. I didn't really love doing that. I sell a lot of books, but I don't love like just scanning through and trying to find them. But I saw a thing. So because I collect a lot of books and I have a decent sized library myself, some of the people I follow like on X and various platforms, same thing. They're into the same types of books that I'm into, like theology books and stuff. And I saw one person make a comment. They said like, hey, best hack ever. Take a picture of your bookshelf. And they had like a huge bookshelf full of all these books. And he says, upload the picture into ChatGPT and have it create. And like he had the prompt all set up of like the author, the book title, the like all the information about it, and then export it to an Excel sheet. And then you can alphabetize it at that point. You can like do it by topics and whatever. And so supposedly you can, just from taking a picture, like it can read the book titles and kind of figure out, okay, this is this version from this year. So I wonder if same thing, like you said, like AI, the places like Goodwill are already doing that, where like they're scanning items. I wonder if you could just go into a store, take a picture of the bookshelf real quick, throw it into ChatGPT and say, do any of these sell on eBay for over $20, right? And it kind of can just check quickly and say like, this book right here is a high sought after book. You know, like could we even use AI in that way? Like that might be a tip or a trick. You might have to try something like that. And you can maybe do the same thing with clothes, right? Go to the Goodwill bin and say, hey, I don't know anything about it, but if I could take a picture of like 40 clothing items and say like, are any of these like valuable? And if it can kind of like quickly find, it's got to be getting there, you know?
It's kind of there already though. Like I forget who we were talking to, but somebody was doing something, or maybe it's something I, brought up where like, that'd be fantastic. You go to garage sale, you just pull out your phone and like you scan the entire garage sale. And then like, it gives you like little arrows, like this item, this item, this item, this item. But I still think there's going to be a place for those people that are willing to learn, extend their knowledge and network. Like, I think those are going to be the winners, because it's not going to come down to like how fast you can list. It's not going to come down to how much you can list. I truly believe it's going to come down to, are you able to get those items that other people aren't able to get to before they get anywhere? That's what and it's always been like that, right? It's always been like that. That's supply and demand, right? So anyways, let's keep moving with the video. We can get really philosophical here about reselling.
Yeah. Real quick too, looking at this graph they have here. I mean, they're using 2029 as their prediction date, with it being 2025 right now. It looks like we're under 60 billion, probably I'd say 58 billion or so, combined non-resale and resale secondhand apparel market. And then it's going up, they're predicting to 74, 76 billion, something like that. But what's interesting is if you look at 2019, 2020, and that is that pandemic timeframe there, you'll notice that's the only year that the non-resale goes down and the resale goes up. It's like they're all going up every year. Resale is going up faster in the future here than the non-resale percentage-wise. But yeah, from 2019 to 2020, the resale clothing market continued to move up even as the clothing market in general went down.
Yeah.
So that just shows
Isn't
like
that
even in
crazy?
crazy
So wild.
timelines, like the resale is still growing.
Again, I keep saying, and we've been saying this from the beginning, like reselling is not dead, not even close, not by any means. And I would argue that there is more competition now. I would argue there's way more resellers than there were when we started the podcast back in 2018. But still, there are people that are killing it, that are still making, and there are people that started with us in 2018 that have only gotten better and better and better and better at reselling, right? They haven't, ended up in the e-commerce bites, basement of comments complaining about how eBay's dead. No, they've adapted, they've grown, and they figured it out because secondary market continues to grow. All right, let's keep moving here.
$74 billion by 2029, growing 9% annually on average.
I think it's a great opportunity to remind customers of the great value that we provide on ThreadUp, and also that it's a sustainable way to shop during the holiday season.
After years of
Holiday
flat
season.
performance, ThreadUp stock is up over 1,000% in the
We
past
should have
year.
bought some stock.
Dang, man. What were we thinking?
President Trump's tariffs were billed as a way to bring manufacturing back home. But the measures hit one of America's most import-dependent industries, fashion. About 97% of clothing sold in the U.S. is imported, mostly from
This is
China,
what we've been talking
Vietnam,
about forever.
Bangladesh, and India.
How the tariffs
Yeah.
is going to cause people to buy more domestically, right? And
Yeah.
I think that's happening.
Yeah, and
really
again,
do.
like it's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Because a lot of times the same people who might like complain about that, like, hey, it's going to be harder for us to get our clothing from China, Vietnam, Bangladesh, and India, would still also have a problem with the fact that, like, hey, we're filling up literally like island size dumps out in the ocean or out in whatever with clothing because it gets worn a handful of times and there's nowhere they can't even give this stuff away to people, right? Like there's so much fashion waste, and so it's like maybe it's better that we're not importing tons of clothing that's not going to last or be long term and just end up in a landfill somewhere. So like the same people a lot of times that would complain about the green aspect of this stuff, this seems like in maybe some ways a solution, right? Like, hey, there's going to be less coming in, so what's going to be prioritized is going to be the higher quality stuff, and then buying domestically.
Our reliance on products from overseas is being severely impacted by tariffs.
And that's sort of the existential threat that the industry is sort of grappling with now. How much price elasticity is out there for a consumer that's pretty exhausted from an inflation standpoint?
Prices were
Elasticity,
rising. We started to see them
101.
come down a little bit in the second half of 2024, but in the past 4 months, prices turned and started to go up again. So consumers are really looking for how can they save. We're seeing this overall mentality shift. We look at resale, dupes, fast fashion, even private brands. Like consumers are shifting to these options, but they're not seeing them as a trade down. They're really seeing them as being just as good.
That shift is
I'm 50-50 on that, right? I think that there are a lot of young Gen Z people who are like, hey, like I can buy stuff, like I'm not getting the stuff that is mass made and it's in Walmart. I can kind of have a unique shirt or a unique style that, because I'm willing to buy. And some of them are doing it for green reasons. But I also think that it's kind of it's an excuse to say, hey, they're doing this just because it's like good, because the reality is it's really hard for the younger generation. Like things keep going up in price. Mm-hmm. And so, they might be doing it, but it's almost being sold as like, hey, this is like so great for them. But at the same time, it's like, no, this kind of sucks for the younger generation that they're working so hard and they're like, I can't afford new clothes. I got to buy used clothes. Like as a reseller, like we can benefit from that in a sense of like, hey, my market is doing good, but I feel terrible that like the fact that Gen Z almost needs something like ThreadUp to exist so that they can afford clothing. That kind of sucks.
But at the same time, like they love it. Like that's like, I would.
But that's what I'm saying. To me, I don't buy that. I buy like half. I would say like some of them, it's like, yeah, I love it. But some of them are like, I don't like, that's like saying every person going to a thrift store loves going to a thrift store.
Well, but I'm in San Francisco where like, it's pretty popular. Like it's huge.
I
get it,
but
San Diego.
But here's the thing. The point I'm trying to make though is, you can say like they love it because they can do it and they're getting some cool stuff, whatever, but they kind of have no other choice. Right. So it's like, if they were at a place where they were making more money, things were less expensive, they would have a choice that they can buy stuff. So I don't know. Part of it's like, that seems like an excuse to be like, hey, this is just something they love. It's just part of their culture. And it's like, yeah, but that kind of, it's almost being forced upon them. Like, here, love this because this is what you have to do.
Okay. All right.
Showing up across resale platforms. ThreadUp reported that revenue grew 34% year over year in its third quarter 2025 earnings. It also said that it acquired more new customers in the third quarter than any other time in the company's history, with new buyer growth up 54% from the same period last year. Depop and OfferUp are also seeing similar momentum, and even Amazon is betting on pre-loved fashion.
We're also seeing an increasing number of sellers as people are looking to offset some of the rising costs, earn a little extra income.
If you start seeing higher prices flow through from tariffs, it would follow then that resold items could do one of two things. They could just allow demand to theoretically flow through by keeping their current pricing, right? Because that value spread would open up even greater. Or they could take their prices up and just maintain the same, percentage spread to a like item, full price like item. And both are significant benefits to resale platforms.
But ThreadUp isn't the only one changing how people shop. One of the newest players in resale, FIA, is using AI to take that idea.
I've been seeing those ads now.
I haven't seen anything from FIA. Is this the next one we need to be buying stock on, or a platform we should be selling on?
There's so many. There's so many right now. It's crazy. I keep playing.
I know.
When are we gonna get through this video?
You gotta find the right one to bet on. We got a podcast to make though. It's the only video we have. We have a couple short TikToks after this. Come on, man.
Founded by Phoebe Gates and Sophia Kiani, FIA compares thousands of listings across retail and resale in seconds, helping shoppers find the best deal, either new or used.
Well, we work with both secondhand partners and also retail partners. We have tens of thousands of users transacting, and it proves that we are really solving a pain point for our consumers.
AI has really accelerated, I think, the adoption of secondhand. I think consumers are going to benefit. It's going to bring more people to shopping secondhand.
Through essentially image capture and artificial intelligence, you're able to have essentially unlimited search attributes, right? So you can search for themes, Nantucket wedding, 4th of July, St. Patrick's Day, whatever it is, right? And that will bring you a broader universe of items.
AI has the potential to really transform the way that people are shopping online. Right now, AI has become an important discovery and research tool.
This is one of the ways that like early adopters could potentially use AI as a tool, as like sourcing, right? Like, hey, I can use AI to potentially find the cheapest route, but eventually that's going to be one of those things that's going to be a detriment to resellers, right? Because if anybody can find the cheapest, if it's checking OfferUp and it's checking Facebook Marketplace and eBay and Amazon, all the places you source and Goodwill online, then the things that I might be looking for that I can find the good deals on, those are already going to be thrown out as like, hey, here's the cheapest deal, and your chances of finding them are slim to none, right? So it's like a double-edged sword. It's like you can use this tool short term to get a ton of advantage potentially, or something like this, but eventually it levels the playing field to the point where like, hey, you can no longer, because I mean, this is the problem we've complained with like thrift stores, right? Like you used to be able to walk into a Goodwill and walk around and find a handful of items that were worth a lot, and then next thing you know, they're now able to figure out exactly because we used to say every thrift store has its weakness, right? But if more and more of them in their warehouses, as soon as items are coming in, they're being scanned by AI, and it's like, this sells for this sells, put this on Depop, put this on ThreadUp, put this in the store because it's kind of junk and it's not gonna, we're not gonna be able to make as much on eBay, and they can kind of figure that out. Then where does that leave us, right? Like you're stuck at just garage sales. But then if this becomes more and more popular, again, it just, yeah, I mean, garage sales, I feel like are probably one of the few that's like almost untouchable for a while. But I mean, your ability to source even eBay to eBay, right? Like that's one of the eBay to eBay arbitrage is something I use all the time. And, these types of tools could potentially short-term help you, but then long-term could really mess you up.
For shoppers, we're seeing more of them turn to AI chatbots for product recommendations, and many of these companies are looking for ways to try to monetize that behavior. Younger shoppers really are the driving force behind the growth in fashion resale. Gen Z and millennials both value affordability and sustainability in their.
Yeah, no, I agree. So, but again, like value, affordability, I think that's like a euphemism for like they're forced to have to buy.
But I will tell you, I myself, let me give you an example of like, I'm not Gen Z, but I shop like Gen Z. So for example, Costco just came out with these San Francisco 49ers starter jackets, and they look clean. They're great. I mean, they're pretty, I mean, they are awesome. They're like $100, like super nice. But then I remember I put it in my cart and I was going to buy it. Right. But then I thought, man, like everybody's going to have the same jacket. Like chances are like every week I'm going to see somebody else with the same jacket. So I was like, you know what? Instead of spending that $100 on that 49er starter jacket, I went on eBay and I found a vintage one from the 90s, one of those, you know, the parka hoodies that people wore in the 90s. Mm-hmm. And because I always wore those, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to buy that instead. And I ended up buying it because there's uniqueness, right? There's that part of the secondhand market that I think eBay capitalizes on. And I think those resellers that do real well is that they find stuff that not everybody has, right? So even if I go on eBay right now and I'm looking for the same parka that I wanted, there's maybe like 5 listed, right? In comparison to the hundreds of starter jackets that Costco was selling. But anyways, and that's my 2 cents.
I agree probably for the most part in the sense of like there are going to be, because you can't broad stroke everything, right? It's like everybody who buys secondhand is doing it because they love sustainability or they love affordability or they love, like you can't, like there's different reasons. But again, I would say like uniqueness in some ways is almost an opportunity only provided to those who have expendable income, right? Like if you've got like, then I can really be unique. So the thing is like when you're forced to go secondhand in order to, I still would like to maybe be unique, but I have to go secondhand and then I have to buy the cheap secondhand. It's almost like the wealthier or better off you are, like the easier it is for you to say like, I'm going to get the one of a kind or the more unique and I'm going to be different and not get the cheaper version at Costco. Right. So I do think there's probably some people who that's what they're after, but a lot of people it's, I don't know. I just don't think that's the vast majority of Gen Z. I think the vast majority of Gen Z that's forced to buy secondhand, it's just because it's just so tough right now.
Okay. Let us know in comments. What do you think?
These things
Is that
tend
why?
to be at odds. If you think about fast fashion, for example, it tends to be a cheaper option, but not a more sustainable
Which has no resale value.
Resale really hits on both of those fronts. So buying secondhand clothing items is both a cheaper and more sustainable option.
By 2029, new shoppers will account for 60% of all secondhand spending, and younger generations for nearly 70%.
I think that idea of value, it's not
so the clothing market isn't dead is what we're hearing here.
It looks different. It's a different equation for each consumer. So it's really for brands and retailers, it's about understanding, well, for my consumer, for my core demographics, what does that value equation look like and how am I checking those value boxes?
The stigma around secondhand clothes really died with the baby boomer generation. And now you're seeing much younger cohorts
but there was
really
a stigma in
take to
2018,
and adopt and even seek out these resold platforms.
Yeah. And again, like I would say it's a 50-50, right? Half of it for sustainability purposes and then the other half is like, hey, if everybody has to do this because it's just so much harder for Gen Z. I think a lot of older people, like I'm a millennial, I think you're Gen X. And so I think there's this disconnect with like just realizing just how hard it is for so many of these younger people. And so, yeah, when all of it, because I was the same thing. Like I shopped at a thrift store when I was in high school and there were times I got made fun of for not having the name brand this and name brand that, but that was out of necessity. Right. And it's like, okay, well that stigma's gone. And part of me can be like, all right, that's good that stigma's gone. But part of the reason that stigma's gone is because now almost everybody's peers is doing the same thing. It's like, hey, my friends in high school, my friends in college, or my friends who are young families, they're doing the same thing and it's all out of necessity. So no one's going to make fun of all of us because we're all forced to do this. So I think it's a mix. I think we just have to, I think again, like this, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like again, as us just resellers, we can capitalize on that. We can connect them to things they can actually afford that's high quality, which is what we're doing, right? Like I want to sell the highest quality clothing I can to people so they can have the best quality clothing they can at a price point they can afford. So I'm doing that service. But I think there's, because if we're trying to look at the trend, like why this is moving that direction, I think there's a lot involved here.
Resold goods offer tangible value.
For retailers, that shift could be long-term, with some saying it could be the new center of American fashion.
I think the future of fashion will be more sustainable than it is today. And I think consumers are going to have more choices to reflect their unique personalities. And I think secondhand is going to be a big part of that.
And there you have it. So, hey,
all right.
if you're like wondering, should I sell source clothing? I would say go for it. But I would say make sure that, you check the comps, make sure you do your 90 days, make sure.
But do you need to
you
check comps? Like if you could do a whole buyout at a garage sale, I'll give you $20 for all the rest of this clothing. And you send it into ThreadUp and they throw 75% of it away. And then they list 20 items for you. Like,
I think it depends on the clothes. I really do. Like I would not like you could be picking up $20 of like Walmart stuff or $20 of Target brand stuff. Like you know.
I mean, you still got to check. You still got to know. But I mean, one of the main reasons I don't do clothing or a lot of clothing. I still do some clothing, but I hate doing the pictures. I hate doing the measurements. I hate double checking the this and the that and so yeah, if somebody else is doing that aspect of it, man, count me in. Let us know in the comments. Has anybody used ThreadUp? Have you been successful on there? I'd like to know.
All right. Hey, let's get to our hustle of the week. But before we get to our hustle of the week, I do want to talk about My Reseller Genie. If you haven't checked out My Reseller Genie, it is bookkeeping software for resellers by resellers, and it does a lot of things, and they're constantly improving on it. You can use our code Pure Hustle, and you get 15% off the first month. Again, use our code Pure Hustle, get 15% off the first month. And I want to encourage you, like if you're doing your taxes, like it's always good to make sure that you have every single item that you can to deduct. So My Reseller Genie will give you all the eBay information you need, from the shipping to the fees to the promoted listing fees. It allows you to get a Schedule C, allows you to get your P&L, all that you need. So check out My Reseller Genie. Go to the link below or just go to My Reseller Genie and use our code Pure Hustle at checkout to get 15% off the first month. All right, let's talk about our hustle of the week. Today, we only have one hustle of the week. We're just going to show one quick video for our hustle of the week, and then I'm going to share mine, and then we got a couple videos here that we're going to show. So let's do that one hustle, but we got to play the music intro at least.
Come on, hustlers. It's the freaking hustle of the week. All right, here we go. This is a video one.
No, before we throw it, this Cosmic Deal Heather, OG reseller, have been reselling since the beginning of the podcast. Even before then, she always has, I would say, some of the unique finds, and it's in like health and beauty. So stay tuned and watch this video. This is the reel that we're going to show. So let's check it out.
It is time.
Storage unit.
Yeah, you're wondering what's going on if you're listening. Yes, there's a storage unit, and there's a bunch of like hair kind of gel, and they're like little tubes, like traveling tubes. So she shot some YouTube videos of it. That's what she's showing. When it said remember, it showed an old YouTube video that she made. And she's shipping the very last container. So total sold was 1,631 units of it.
I'm gonna pause it so we could read this out. Okay, so total sold. Oh yeah, you can read them.
All right, total sold was 1,631 units. Now, this is from a pallet that she bought from. I gotta pull up the ad, but she bought the pallet from a beauty salon that was clothing out. So she bought $7,000 worth of this. Okay. Now she sold 1,631 of these, 1,502 of them on eBay, 125 on Walmart and Farm Mercari. So obviously eBay was a way to go. Let's keep playing it here.
Took a couple of years, right?
Yeah. So she first sold in 9/23 of 2023, and the last one just sold this November 7th. So let's take a look at this total profit. Remember, spent $7,000. Okay, and so the net profit.
Whoa! $38,690.18 from $7,000. So a $31,000 profit off of this pallet. Good grief!
Isn't that crazy?
And the nice thing, the best part about a hustle of the week like this, I mean, this is a hustle of a couple of years here, right? This wasn't like a 1 week thing. But what makes this so great is that was one picture. I mean, probably multiple pictures for the listing, but one listing, right? Like you take a handful of pictures, put it in the description, you put it up. That's amazing. And these were expensive items too, right? Because if she sold 160 some of them and made $38,000, like those were not going for a couple dollars each. Those were
no. Okay, no. So she started listing them at $30.
Oof.
And then as time went on, it became more scarce, right? So demand kicked in. So she was selling each of these little tubes for $70.
Wow.
$70. So amazing. Nice work there, Cosmic Deal Heather. Great to connect again after. She's had a few hustles of the week, so it's really, really good. All right, let me share my hustle of the week. So a few years ago, you might have seen it still on the Instagram somewhere. I ended up going to garage sales, and I always handed out my business cards. And it's funny because somebody had mentioned in the comments, like, I've handed out business cards and never worked. I'm telling you, it works. It works. You will connect at one point in time. Well, this person was like selling a bunch of duck decoys. So I bought a couple of duck decoys, and I was like, hey, here's my business card. Let me know if, you have any more of these. And she was like, yeah, my father passed away a few months ago, and he had an insurance business, and his offices were full of duck decoys and taxidermy and railroad lanterns. Remember the railroad lanterns? It's the same one, right? So I went over there a couple weeks later, and I paid $500, and I bought, I don't know, like 50 duck decoys, like 20 pieces of taxidermy, and 5 railroad lanterns. And there's a story here, but the railroad lanterns was the most valuable piece. I didn't know. I sold one overnight for $500, which I was like, great, I made my money back. But after research, like, one sold like 6 years ago for $10,000, another one sold for $3,000. But I decided to make good on my word, and when it sold, I shipped it out. But I still made thousands of dollars on this purchase. Well, one of the taxidermy sold, so I ended up selling. And here's the funny thing: I took this taxidermy from San Diego to San Francisco, and I had to pack it well. I had to make sure it made it right. So I'm really grateful. And taxidermy sells. I'm telling you, there's good money on taxidermy. So I ended up selling, it was a vintage Chukar partridge grouse pheasant. Remember, I paid $500. I already made $1,000 on this deal, and it sold for $275.
Nice.
Plus ship. So I'm very happy. And let me just give a tip for everybody on how to ship taxidermy. What you want to do is, you do want to flip the box, and I'll explain what that is. But what you want to do is, you first want to bubble wrap that taxidermy, but not tight, because you don't want to accidentally like break a wing or beak or something while you're like taping it. Just loosely bubble wrap it. Then you got to get the popcorn, the peanuts, right? You get the peanuts, and then you put a little bit on the bottom. Then you put the taxidermy, and then you fill up the box with the peanuts. Then you tape that box, not tight, and then you get another box that is larger. In that box, you put packing paper. Then you put that box in there, packing paper on top, and then you seal it, and then you ship it out. And that is the safest way. Now, the hardest one was, remember that one bird that had had several feet wingspan? Like, that was nuts to ship, but made it safely. So that is my hustle of the week. So thank you, everyone. Cosmic Deal Heather and myself, for sharing your hustle of the week here. Appreciate it. Our next theme episode, we will be sharing more of those. So if you haven't yet, on Instagram, you can tag us and hashtag hustle of the week. And on the Discord, you can always put hustle of the week in our Discord. We'll talk about our Discord in a little bit. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to our next video. I found this interesting, so let's check it out.
All right. And this is a TikTok. You still have TikTok, man? Look at you.
Oh, yeah. Well, it is a place where like everybody goes to now, which it is what it is.
All right, here we go. Let's see it.
That the North Face has a trade-in program where you can bring in previously owned North Face items and get a gift card for them. Therefore, I have been collecting North Face items from the Goodwill bins for a few months now, and I'm finally ready to take this to trade-in. I've collected 3 vests, 4 fleece jackets, 1 kid's jacket, a hat, and 2 pullovers. So let's see how much I get for all this stuff.
Really weird to be in a mall.
I hope it's a good amount, since they don't really let you sell it on eBay.
Trade-in program.
Yeah, how many units do you have?
Yeah. 10, yeah.
Your email and
Okay, so she has to put in her email and phone number.
Like a month.
In a month. All right, that's good to know.
Done with getting my store credit. I was given $155 for 10 items, which
that's not bad.
I was amazed by. So now I can buy my coat for half the price. You can only do 10 items per month, but it's still a pretty good deal. So follow along if you like more of this kind of content, because I'm always posting stuff like this.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's not a bad deal there at all. I mean, she probably could have made more than that depending on the items if she sold them on eBay, right? But it's a no-brainer, right? You don't have to worry about the listing and the shipping and the condition and all of that and returns. So that can be really helpful. I've actually just gave away a couple of North Face items because I wasn't planning on listing them. I should have considered that. I don't know if there's a store near me close enough where they would do that, but I think that's a especially if you got something like a bins nearby. Because yeah, even if it's, hey, this isn't the best quality North Face item, you potentially can get that store credit for it and then buy something you do want either for yourself or buy something that's brand new and sell it as brand new, right? So yeah, I wonder if anybody else has done that. I know Lululemon does the same thing, so some people do that with Lululemon as well. That's one of the ways they do to try and keep those items off of those resale sites.
But here's the thing. Like, if you're ever like I don't know, you need quick money or you need to buy a jacket quick, like you can just dip into your inventory. Because right now, I have several North Face pieces, right? And I could go do this. And maybe I need a nice puff coat. Maybe I need a nice North Face coat. I don't know, but it is fascinating. I also actually had a video about Best Buy. Do you know at Best Buy you can trade in stuff too and you get credit? Now, it's like GameStop, right? Where like you go in and they give you like less than 25%. Yeah, $1. But hey, if you go to a garage sale and you got somebody that has a bunch of North Face and you don't want to list it, I mean, that's the beauty of reselling. Like you have options, like, right? You have ways to offload inventory. We just watched a video on ThreadUp. We just did one on North Face. So I think it's great. So I thought I'd just throw that in there just to share with people like, hey, there is options with North Face. There's actually, I think other brands you can do that too. So look into that. But how many times have you picked up a North Face piece for like $1? So
yeah, it doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen.
There you go. All right. Now we bring in the infamous Gary V. Now I think I edited the swearing, so hopefully there's no swearing in this video.
Let's hope so. And I think it's funny because I think Gary V's his power has definitely died out, but I think you still think it's up there.
Yeah. Okay.
I think his influence is way low. But let's see here. Let's see what he has to say.
Gary V is still.
I think in the circles you're in. I don't know.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think he's just gotten bigger.
I think no. Compared to what he was in 2020, no way.
Okay, no, you're right. That was peak Gary V. You're right. Okay, go ahead.
Dude, come on! You need to quit your what?
I'm 34 years old. I actually just recently started a garage clean out business. We go and clean people's garages out, and then we buy the stuff they don't want, and we're trying to resell.
I wish I was running this business. That is like you just literally described my dream life.
I also have a full-time job.
I see.
I'm a marketing director.
See, he says that, but he doesn't resell full time. Gary Vee could if he wanted to.
Okay, but okay, you're right. He could, but I think he's right. There is nothing else right now that is such a low risk entry, right? Chances that like you go one morning and spend $20 at garage sales, as long as you use eBay sold comps, you do a little bit of research and you're willing to put in the work, that you will be able to turn that money over and over and over again. Like I think that is, I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's anything else close that comes to that, right? Maybe you get lucky on crypto, right? And you buy something for like, you spend $100 on crypto when it's at 0.000000, but that's risky, right? That's risky. But we'll watch the rest of the video here in a moment. But the other thing I want to mention is like, you can kill it on eBay and you can kill it at what you're doing at the same time. Now, I'm different than I used to be. I remember I told Mike, we can do whatever we want. If we want to do 10 different,
you can give 100% to every aspect of your life. Remember that, yes. Orlando? You got 1,000% to give.
I do. And you know what? I thought I could, but even right now, right? As a school administrator and doing this eBay business, like I will say, like it's been tough. I mean, I lost my top rated seller status. I'm above standard now, right? I got some bad metrics. Like obviously I couldn't do it. Right. So you got to be careful about that. But what's fascinating is that, how much reselling has caught on, that it's not like a badge of like disdain, right? It's not like ooh, you're a reseller. Like that's weird. Like, what are you doing? Usually now it's like, oh, that's cool. Like what do you resell? Like even the other day I went to dinner with a couple artists and, I always see artists as people that like I can't relate to because their minds think differently and like they value things that I struggle valuing. But I started talking about eBay and they're like, "Oh, that's awesome, blah blah blah," and I'm like, "What? Even these like?" And I was waiting for them to tell me like, "I can't believe you negotiated somebody from, $5,000 to $1,400." I thought I was gonna be instantly judged, right? But I think people see the value in it. Like they recognize like, hey, this is a legitimate business now. And so I like the fact that this guy here is saying, hey, I got this garage business, but I'm also a director at my employment. So, all right, let's keep playing the video here.
And then we're mostly cleaning stuff on the weekends right now.
Makes sense.
At what point or what kind of indicators do you look for like, yes, this works. This is going to be something that I can do full time.
Makes sense. You're asking the right question. Paul.
How many episodes do we have on this? Hundreds, right?
Yeah. Okay. But I find this concerning. You get a guy, he got a full garage clean out business and he's wondering like, how do I know what to sell?
No, that's not what he said. He wants to know when he can leave his other job. Like when are the indicators to go full time on this? That's what he's asking.
Is that what he's asking?
Yeah, he's like basically when do I make the jump to full time? I could be wrong. Let me rewind a little bit.
Okay, let's see. I didn't.
And then we're mostly cleaning stuff on the weekends right now.
Makes sense.
At what point or what kind of indicators do you look for like, yes, this works. This is going to be something that I can do full time.
Makes sense. You're asking the right question. Paul, have you heard about the concept of common sense?
Yes.
Good. Let's play common sense game. Question number 1 in the common sense game. Have you been able to get customers?
Yes.
Well, that's his answer for you ready to go full time.
but that's okay. Let's break that down a little bit. All right. Now maybe there's more
to that interview for sure. That's just a short clip on TikTok.
But let's land here for a little bit, okay? It's not that you get customers, right? I would say that's not how eBay. There are customers.
No. But he's talking about, I think, not even just the eBay side. He's talking about your garage sale clean out. Like, are you able to like if you were becoming a not real estate, if you were to become like a estate sale, if you were to become an estate sale, seller and you're running estate sales, well, you can do that. But if you're only getting 1 or 2 a year of customers, those would be the people who are like hiring you to do that. Right. So I think that's what he's talking about. Like, are you able to like sustain, are you able to sustain lots of these garage sale buyouts or clean outs?
It's a booming business. It's huge. Like, and we've had several of our followers that listen to the podcast that they started as resellers and then they end up being junk clean out. And they've done it for 2 reasons. One, they found that it was an easy way to get inventory, right? Because you're cleaning it out, right? They're not asking you like, what are you going to do with it after? And so sometimes they keep some of the stuff and they sell on eBay and the other stuff they end up junking. The other part of it is people are throwing away stuff all the time, right? All the time. And I remember 2 months ago, my church, we got together to help somebody out because they had, I think I shared this on the podcast, they had a garage and it was just filled to the brim with stuff. And so like 20 of us were out there like clearing out this garage. And I was putting stuff aside for him. I'm like, hey, just to let you know, like this stuff is valuable. Like you could actually sell this on eBay for good money. And he ended up just giving it to me. I ended up getting like some vintage RC cars, which are worth money, some vintage like Japanese robot stuff and all this other items. And he just wanted to move the stuff, right? And so I think it's a very profitable business. But I will tell you, it is probably a lot of work. Like one of the reasons I think Mike and I don't do that kind of stuff is it's enduring. Like you have to like be willing to spend hours.
Yeah, it's manual labor. Like
you really, now you could hire people. You could hire people. People do that too.
Even with that though, I mean, your brain's got to come in. Like, I mean, you're going to cut into your profit, especially if you're starting a business like that. Like you got to be able to come in with your own truck and your own trailer and your own like stuff. If you're like buying, and because when you get to the point where you can hire people, then you could say the same about any business. Like, hey, I'm going to start a landscaping business. I'm going to go mow people's lawns, do landscaping. It's like, well, you could hire people. It's like, well, yeah, but you can say that for any job, right? Like eventually, if you get big enough, yeah, you can have employees. You could just sit in an office all day and just get customers, and then you can hire someone to be sales. But like the reality is that that's not the most people when they're starting a business, right? Going back to the Gary Vee mentality of like, you got to eat dirt for years, right? Like you're pretty much just trying to make it. And so you're going to be doing 99% of the work for a long time. So yeah, that one's good, but that's good advice. And yeah, it just goes to show there's a lot of different options available. Orlando, I gotta head out here pretty soon. So
all right. Well, hey,
anything else?
No, like, listen, thank you everyone for tuning in. I know we've been all over the place when we're dropping episodes, but every week our goal will always be a drop-in episode. So if you have not been following us, I suggest you do on YouTube. Subscribe, hit that bell button, smash that like notification. And if you haven't yet signed up for our Patreon to check out our Discord, which has plenty of info, make sure to do so. For $5.55 a month, you get to get on our Discord, and there's all kinds of information, far more than we ever share on the podcast, but our podcast episodes will always be free. And with that being said, make sure to be real,
be relevant,
and be reselling.
Peace.
From garage sales to thrift store aisles, we hunt for treasure, stacking them in piles, hustling hard